Today in the THP Tech Studio, we are breaking down the Tour Edge Exotics C722 and E722 iron lineup. Right here in front of me, you have a great overview of the two heads, and I think it's definitely important, and we will certainly link it in the description. We had some awesome folks over there at Tour Edge on a live stream with Josh to get a lot of information on these heads, as well as a lot of good information on the THP homepage. Looking at the two heads side by side, I've got a lot of familiarity with C722 here because I actually played the C721 last year in the 3-iron. As you can see, VibraCore is very much present, and the concept there is pretty simple. They put a high-grade TPU inside the hollow body profile, which supports consistency, but also that dense feel you're looking for. You don't want that hollow body feel, even if it's promoting a lot of positive things. There's a tiny little cutout in the back here, which you will note, and then diamond face, which we are getting to know quite a bit about Tour Edge. Just a quick look at the overview there, and we'll swing over to the E722. One thing I didn't mention, C722 stands for Competition Series, and E722 stands for Extreme Distance Series. Subtle differences here, including in the loft. We actually do get a little view of that TPU in there, that VibraCore, which I think is actually pretty cool. That's a little carve out here. Similar in the back, diamond face in the front. And if you take just a tiny little look at the two, you do see that the E series has a little bit more going on the top line, which is fairly expected at this point. I think the best thing to do here is to ask you a very simple question. Are you familiar with C722 or E722 or even the previous lineups from Tour Edge? Is this the type of iron that is curious to you based on the fact that there is a lot of products out there of this profile that support this kind of distance and power? I'm super excited to get these in the hitting bay. One thing I'm really curious about personally is, does this sound measure up between head to head, which is one of my favorite things about C721. We'll head over there now, hit a few shots, talk through them, and show you the performance on Tour Edge Exotics. Here we are in the bay with Tour Edge Exotics C722 and E722. Two different looking irons at address, but offering very similar concepts, absolutely stunning. We know we got VibraCore in there, a little bit of a different design in the cutouts. So let's, I think we just hit them. We hit them and talked through the experience between the two. We're gonna start with C722. It is the 3-iron that was in my bag last year. So I'm a little bit passionate about the quality changes overall, year over year. We do have a 7-iron in play right now for both heads. This one is set up with the Elevate 95 using Bridgestone Tour B X golf balls. Okay, a good one right off the bat. The range is set up at 190. I thought that was a little bit overzealous until I started hitting the two and recognizing that these do have quite a bit of power built into them. Right out of the gate, we got about 5,600 RPMs of spin. I definitely hit up on that a little bit more than I usually do. And you can see the peak height is very supportive of that style. 132 mile an hour ball speed. I say we just keep hitting. There's not much else to say other than let's see what else these can do. Second one, pretty much down the line, flirting with the very first hole out in the THP Tech Studio. It's not happening today, but I'll tell you what, I really have enjoyed the progression, the sound quality off these irons. The C series in particular has been a pretty significant staple at the top of my bag, and it's nice to see quality improvements moving into C722 off of C721. 195 carry, yeah, I mean, we are in the wheelhouse here, folks. 135 in the ball speed, that is big for me. Let's hit a couple more. Well, maybe we just hit this one and move straight into E. I don't think there's much else to say other than This is an iron that's built on capability or competence of hitting straightforward shots, supporting that, but also obviously promoting some significant power into the ball. What else can I say? It's a 190-yard hole, and I just pinned it basically with 3 straight. Let's move into E. I mean, what else can we do? Move into E. This does have a slightly larger profile overall. And here we are with the E722. A little bit more offset here in this iron by comparison to the C series. I didn't mention diamond face being in there, but there's also a little bit of a carve out that differentiates the 2 head behind just a tiny bit of a different profile overall. We're gonna hit them. Let's see what they do. First shot is a fairly good one. I hit that heavier than I hit the first couple with the C series. So obviously we're just gonna let this cycle through, get another one in. At this point, for me, my goal is how much can we get out of this club head? We know they have performance. I just hit the green for the 4th straight time with the 722 lineup. So let's see what we can get out of these. Very interesting, 131, even on a not great ball strike. Love it. Yeah, 196 yards of carry, 135 mile-an-hour ball speed. I am all over this green, and this is, we'll show you a couple overhead views. This is a very supportive iron. It's distance and in its probably most extreme form. Obviously the size of the head is not a traditional player iron head, but we have plenty of control here to get it greenside. Let's hit a couple more. All right, first bad strike of the bunch. It was coming eventually, but that is not that far off. Maybe greenside bunker, whatever you want to call it. I love that. It was not my best strike. Wow. Let's check the ball speed here at 131 off a pretty underwhelming swing. Probably came on the inside quite a bit on that. So we will clean that up with one more swing here and move to table view. Yeah, once again, straight down the line. I'm really impressed by the sound comparable between the 2 heads. They're not that far off, at least from my perspective here inside the tech studio. It could be different outside. It could be different based on the way you make contact with the ball. But yeah, I'm not seeing any real significant differences between the 2 heads. Slightly subtle visual changes, but the performance is there. So I think what we do here, head to table view and talk it through. Here we are at table view of Tour Edge Exotics C722 versus E722 irons. I'm actually live. Normally we just sit here on the table. You can see the mouse scrolling at this point. I thought it would be good because we both have table view, which is interesting, but we also have a comparison that I wanted to showcase here. I'm really impressed with how close these 2 are to each other. Now, obviously there's slightly subtle spec differences between the 2 heads, but as you see, the average numbers between the 2 heads are not that far off. A couple things like peak height, a little bit higher with the C, a little bit lower with the E, obviously. But then you have carry, and this is the idea that 1 + 4 = 5, but so does 2 + 3. You have this presentation with launch, as you can see, subtle changes. But then we move into things like carry distance, and it's really quite close. I want to slide over to compare just because we're doing such a thing right now with the discussion. As you can see, the peak height with C722 is a little bit higher and comes down a little bit hotter. That's my preferred, but I know there are a lot of golfers out there that really want to get the ball moving forward and promoting that style of shape. And that is where I think E will really come in well for you guys with that launch. So it looks like I had one pretty mediocre shot with the E series that widen that circle, but without that shot in it, you can see this is a very tight dispersion from 190 for me specifically, and it's something I'm definitely going to take away from this experience. I hope you guys get a chance to go hit C722 and E722 from Tour Edge, and I'd love for you to let us know what your thoughts are, and definitely focus on sound, because I'm blown away with how awesome the E sounds by comparison to styles of irons in that profile. So go take a look, give us your feedback on either this video or on the THP forums.